Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to round number 4 in the F1 Esports 2023 World Championship. Today we are heading out around Silverstone, and as you can see it is wet conditions here in qualifying. Now our previous two races went terrible, did not finish in Austria and only P7 in Jeddah, P2 in the first race in Bahrain. But yeah, it's been a tough championship so far. It's not been a great start, let's keep it that way, and especially after yesterday where that virtual safety car came out, which ruined the race of many people. We need to try and come back into this championship. We kind of need a good result now, otherwise it's over. So time to cook here in Q1, 2, 3 and set ourselves nicely up for the race. However, we've been given a 3-place red penalty, as I said last video as well, because I gave an honest opinion on the wall situation with the VSC. And yeah, no ideal, but gotta get on with it. I think over the past few years I've received quite a few penalty points. None of them have been for driving. Every single one of them have been for giving opinions about certain decisions. Not ideal. I think in 6 years I don't have any esports, or 5 or 6 years I don't have any esports. I think I've received around 8 or 9 penalty points, and only one of them I think was for driving. If I remember correctly, it was for a crash with Brendan, or not even a crash, but like a slight bit of contact with Brendan in F1 Esports 2019 around USA. But yeah, it is what it is. The penalty points don't matter too much to me because usually we are very clean. And yeah, if we get close to a penalty, grid penalty for having too many penalty points, I will just not give an honest opinion for a bit. But yeah, we need to get back into this championship and get our heads down a little bit because it's not looking good at the moment. We're currently sitting on 24 points or 25 points. However, there are people close to 50 points already, so yeah, we need a good result here if we want to keep this championship alive. And this is not a great track for me, historically seen. However, that doesn't mean much. I have grinded Silverstone on F1 23 like absolutely crazy in order to get good at it. I think I played around 100 hours on the beta of F1 23, which was just around Silverstone. And yeah, I think perhaps we have a slightly better chance now. Not a great first sector so far on the intermediates. It's very hard to adapt to intermediate conditions. Of course, all the warm-up we do before qualifying sessions, we get like 10-15 minute warm-up before qualifying. We spend all the time obviously running in dry because yeah, it's just a much bigger chance it's going to be dry. So all the running we do in this week is basically dry, and then in the run up to the event everyone, or at least myself, I tend to just practice dry conditions as well. All the wet running and wet testing I do is quite a bit before, so not to mention that the setups are quite different as well. Really high on the rear wing, which feels very unnatural to drive, but it is the fastest, so it always takes a bit of time to get used to. However, I feel like we've been quite good at adapting to wet weather conditions. However, this has not been a great lap though. I reckon we're gonna have to go out again on intermediate conditions. I reckon we have to go out anyway most of the times. However, we might need another new set of tires. So yeah, us only getting 3 new sets of tires is not ideal, because we are P8 at the moment. We're gonna have to go out on new tires again because we need a good last lap. But yeah, as you can see there in the menu, we only get 3 sets of intermediates, and that means if Q1, 2, 3 is all intermediate conditions, you might not have any new intermediates for Q3. But you need to put kind of new tires, otherwise you don't even make it to Q3. So it's very tricky. But yeah, I decided to go out on new tires again. Even though it might set us on the back foot for Q3. It might be a wet Q3 or a dry Q3. It's gonna be tricky. It's gonna be close with the prediction. But into turn 1 we go, and yeah, as you can see, this is much better already. We're gonna be close to 2 tenths up by the time we head into sector 2, and I think the gap to P1 was around 4.5 tenths. So yeah, it was not a great lap, but just need to get into a nice rhythm here in qualifying. Actually make it to Q3 this time, because we've only made it to Q3 once so far this season, so it's time to make another Q3 appearance. Almost 3 tenths up as we head into Cops Corner. Obviously not flat out in wet conditions. A lot of understeer, as you can see, on this wet setup as we head into Maggots and Baggots. Little downshift to 6th gear for this left-hander, and then down to 5th for the right-hander. Down the straight we go, 4.5 tenths up, purple middle sector, and this has been a very clean lap so far. Now, track might be slightly faster as well, but nonetheless, it's been a clean lap. Much better rotation this time around through Stowe, 200 again, and we head into the final corner. And yeah, I just decided to take it really safe, because I know 5.5 tenth improvement is going to be more than enough to get into Q2 when we jump up to P2. Could have gone P1 there if I really pushed the limits in the last sector, but wasn't necessary. And P3 it is actually, after most people have finished their laps. Patrick Sipos out on track, but not out in Q1, as I was about to say that. Yeah, just about squeezed through there in P15. And now, first lap of Q2. I think this is used tires actually. Yeah, I want to say my last new set of intermediates for the very end of Q2, as it is starting to dry up and we need that fresh set of tires for the end. Danny Beresne, however, our teammate, only used 1 set of tires in Q1, and he went out in Q2 again on a new set, but now on this last run he's doing a used set of tires run. So yeah, he's going for a different approach to us. He is gonna have an extra set of new intermediates for Q3, which we will not have. So yeah, we've kind of betted on it being dry in Q3. And you can see it's not raining anymore here in the last lap of Q2, and that means, just like all other qualifying sessions, this last lap is going to be so important, because the track is going to be improving by the second. So I'm quite happy that I'm last out on track here. Might not make a huge difference, of course, because the gap between us and the first in the straight is around 15 seconds, so it's not going to be a huge difference, but in a grid like this, it might just make the difference. A lot of understeer there to the next left-hander. Might be the front tires overheating as the track is starting to dry up. Through this right-hander, we need to make sure it stays valid, because if we invalidate this lap, it's over. We're going to be P15. Maybe not P15, but we're definitely going to be out in Q2. We cannot afford that after having so many poor qualifying sessions, so we need to keep it on track and we need to keep it clean. No big mistakes. And thus far it's been quite a decent lap, apart from like 1 apex slightly mixed at the start of sector 2. Green, 6.6 tenths up as we head into Stowe. You see 52 brake bars, more towards the rear. Thomas run at 131.462. However, we're already going to be faster than that, because we did a low 32. And yeah, with 8 tenths green, we're going to go to the low 131s across the line. We're going to go. Tom Manley goes to provisional P1. We go right behind him in P2. And yeah, that was a relatively easy qualifying for us. Relatively easy to get into Q3. Didn't have to take even any risks, because yeah, we just have the pace in wet conditions. However, quite a bit of a shocker there. Thomas Ronhaar out in P11. Alfie Butcher as well, who won the last race, of course. Yeah, Thomas, championship leader, out in Q2, and that just shows how hard this championship is. There is no one on this entire grid that is capable of being flawless session in, session out, because it's just too close. Everyone is capable of making mistakes. However, the champion is going to be decided on whoever is making the least amount of mistakes while being close to the limit. First lap in Q3 there. We go P3. And yeah, after Lucas Blakely finished the lap, it was P4. But that lap was 5 seconds of the pace towards a proper dry lap time. And even towards the end, I'm trying to get some track position, because there's only 12 seconds left on the clock as I had for the apex of the second last corner. And yeah, we just really pushed this timing to the limit. 4 seconds left as we cross the line. Because it's a drying track, I wanted to be the very last out on track. But yeah, I was getting a little bit scared there with Lucas slowing down so much. And yeah, into the first braking zone. A little bit wide there actually. But yeah, it is drying up conditions. So this lap is not going to be flawless. 5 seconds, 5.5 seconds of the pace where we aim the first lap, and right now the grip is not ideal yet as well. Struggling to get the fronts to turn, and again another apex miss, but we just have to push in these conditions because everyone is going to be making mistakes. Driving under the limit is just going to be too slow. We have to push if we want to get pole position here. It's a purple first sector as we head into Cops. Flat out though, on a drying track through Cops as we head into Maggots and Baggots. Almost 2 seconds up to our first lap. Down to 7th gear, down to 6th gear. Back end wants to step out as we put the throttle down. We open the DRS down the straight. And again, we're around 1.5 seconds slower to proper dry conditions. Into the final 2 braking zones we go. Into Stowe. This time around, we got the apex nicely. Barry Bormond with the 126.4. That's still 2 seconds of the pace, dry conditions. Can we get anywhere close? Or maybe even faster? Can we go for pole position? Across the line we go. It is pole position for the first time in a very long time. And yeah, the pole position is going to be taken away from us because of that 3-place grid penalty. But nonetheless, it counts in my book. For the first time since 2021, we are back on pole position by half a tenth to our teammate Danny Bresnay. And yeah, if there's one person I would like to lose my pole position to, it's my teammate Danny on pole position. And yeah, that means he gets the pole position point as well. That's a bit of a weird one because I remember back in the day, I think Michael Schumacher, when he got his pole position on Monaco, his last one, I think he actually got the pole position award. But I think the rule changed. If you get a grid penalty, then you lose the pole position as well. So that's unfortunate, but we're still going to be starting P4. Yeah, that's better than any race we've had this season so far. Anyway, even with that 3-place grid penalty, furthest we've started so far is P9 in Bahrain. So very happy with this P1. Make it P4. And yeah, as you can see there, we're going for a medium soft strategy. Not something a lot of people have done. I don't think anyone has really done it. Anyone has really won a race on medium softs in a 50% F1 Esports race, but we are going to try it. Around Silverstone, a lot of soft turners around us. It's lights out, and away we go for round number 4 of F1 Esports. Into turn 1 we go. We've got Ismail Fassi on the outside of us. We squeeze him a little bit to the outside of the track, and we're going to go down the inside in the first braking zone. You can see my front tire not quite up to temperature, getting a little bit of understeer. I had to be careful not to run into the back of Nicolas Longay there. Now we've got Georgie Doe behind us on the softs, Barry Bormans and P7 on the hards. And we need to try and stay ahead of Josh here, simply due to the fact that the mediums are the best race tire to be on. And yeah, once the soft runners start to drop off the pace at the end of this stint, I want to start moving past them one by one and take the lead of the race before anyone comes into the pit box. That's our plan here. If we don't, it's not going to be ideal because the mediums are just a better race tire. A little bit wider, almost 2 track limits. We have to be careful of that. If we get 3 track limits, it means we are going to get a 3-second time penalty. So we need to be careful of that. I don't think I ever got a 3-second time penalty for track limits in my life in F1 Esports. I've done over 50 races now. Not sure if I've done 50 races at this point, but obviously I'm commentating this after the season. And yeah, we managed to keep P5 for now. George obviously is going to put some pressure on us in the next 2 laps, because he knows he has to get past in the next 2 laps, otherwise he's going to have to stay behind. So teammate Danny Bresnay is still leading in P1. We've both gone for different strategies because we didn't want to screw ourselves up in the pit window. And yeah, in general, Danny's more comfortable starting on the softer compound. I'm more comfortable starting on the harder compound. It's been like that forever. ever since we were teammates already in 2020 F1 Esports, when I won my first F1 Esports title. I was always the one starting on the harder compound, and Danny was always the one starting on the softer compound. And yeah, that's just always how we worked. It was just better for him, it was better for me. And then to add on to that, you never screw each other over in the pit window, because yeah, you both box in completely different laps. So that's beautiful and really comes into clutch. And yeah, we both tried, obviously, starting on the softer compound. Already in 2020, I remember, we tried each other's strategies. So I would start on the softer compound and Danny on the harder. But overall, both of us would be slower if Danny started on the hards and I started on the softer compound, for example. So yeah, it just didn't work for both of us. But at the same time, it doesn't, because this way it's great how it works. And we managed to keep behind Yoshidobu here at the end of lap 2. Only 800s away from the fastest lap at the moment on these mediums. But I'm trying to cool my engine. Lap 9 now. This is where we might see the first people coming into the box. And yeah, we didn't really make any progress, to be honest. It's very hard to overtake in a train around here, due to all the long corners. A lot of dirty air, so that's why this strategy is so risky, because we're gonna give up quite a bit of track position here, staying out on the mediums. But yeah, that's just the risk you take. Overall, doing the strategy that we do should be faster, but it's just the fact that you have to cut through the field, and that's the hard part. Now on lap 9, everyone comes into the box that started on the softs, apart from Lucas Blakely. He decided to continue, and that's great news for us. I have to use a bit of my battery to make sure I stay in the DRS and make sure Barry Borman stays out of the DRS, because he's on the hards behind us. His tires are only gonna get faster, and I don't really want to carry him along. Hards should be quite equal pace by now, I think so, relative to the mediums. I said early on in this race that the mediums are the best race tire, which they are. And that's why we need to keep Barry kind of away here, because he's gonna swap onto the mediums. He's doing hard medium, we are doing medium soft. I don't want to touch the hards at all. And yeah, we managed to stay nicely with Lucas. We're not using our battery to close up, we're just staying quite far away, but just in the DRS window, so that we get DRS but not any dirty air. And yeah, that way we can extend our gap to Barry Borman. I think Brendan Lee might get past Barry here, so they try and DRS towards me again. But yeah, this is great for us. We're gonna be on a near full battery, only 6 tenths behind Lucas, who's got great pace, by the way, at the moment, actually, for 10 lap old softs. So the softs are looking great on him. Let's hope they look great on us as well. 10 laps done for Lucas on that soft compound of tire. We were 1.1 seconds away from Barry. 1 second away. Last lap around start finish. And as you can see, 2 laps later, 3 laps later, we are 2.4 seconds ahead of Brendan Lee behind us. So we've had great pace so far. Barry comes into the box for a set of mediums, I reckon. Yeah, you can see there's quite a big train behind us, and we need to be careful that some people might start boxing there and start undercutting us, which is not a huge issue, but if a train starts forming, it's very difficult to move through that train. So we need to be careful of that. And yeah, we can only start boxing at the end of lap 14 earliest. Some people have boxed. You can see the train behind us has basically disappeared, and that means we're gonna have to box here at the end of lap 15. Now you could see in that first hint, the longest someone went on the soft was 10 laps. We're gonna have to do 11 laps though, so it might get a little bit tricky with tire wear. As you can see, I'm pushing quite hard on the ERS here, because I'm trying to cover off the undercuts from as many people as possible behind me. That's the crucial part here. And now we have to come into the box, make sure we don't speed, which we don't. 57 kph, Simon de Weigang, John Evans and Philip Reicheneder, the only ones left behind me. John Evans staying out, I think so, here in lap 15. And yeah, you can see that actually Thomas Ronner, championship leader, down in P18. And yeah, this is a great race for us to get back into the championship if we manage to win this. As you can see, estimated life 12 laps. We're gonna have to do 11 laps on them, so that's fine. And as we come out of the pits, you can hear the cars breeze past us into turn 1. And you can see in the middle left, we are down in P8 at the moment. So more people are gonna get past us here. You can see him desperately trying to get the throttle down. And we're just about gonna get DRS from Alfie Butcher, and that's beautiful. We don't need to get past instantly here. We can wait. We can just use that DRS to gain lap time. We don't have to be past him instantly. Our tires have to warm up. His tires are warm already, so we can just stay in the DRS. That's great, and that's what we did. You can see 1 lap later, we're still not past him, but we just close up. We don't need to get past everyone instantly. You can see the gap is not that big towards the train, and yeah, we didn't get undercut by much relative to Barry, for example, who boxed lap 13, and after 1 lap we're already on the back of him. And it just shows how good our pace was on those medium tires, and those in-laps were crucial, as now we're gonna send it down the inside of Barry Bormand. And yeah, we've got so much more grip that we can just pull this off around the outside, purple first sector. And now we've got Brandon Lee ahead of us, and then you can see the leading train is already there. Just 2 seconds ahead of Brandon Lee is the leading train, and we're only on 1.5 lap old softs. These guys boxed 7-8 laps ago. They got a 7-8 lap undercut, and yeah, we've just minimized the undercut so much with the pace we had on all those in-laps that we're gonna be basically on them within half a lap. Because you can see the gap right now at 1.9 seconds. We're gonna get a nice bit of DRS. Brendan is not defending this because he knows that we've got so much fresher tires. Our tires are so much faster that he just wants to hook up to the back of us and carry us, or carry him, towards this leading pack. You can see just in a few corners we've gained 7-8 tenths. We set the fastest lap of the race at 26.937, and that might give us an extra championship point in this race, and we just about gonna get DRS there. 9.3 tenths on the DRS detection, and you can see every corner we're gaining 2-3 tenths, and again we're gonna get a nice bit of DRS just like Tom Manley, but the gap is only 4 tenths. Engine is nice and cool, obviously, because we haven't really been running in a lot of dirt here. You can see Tom struggling for grip, and we're gonna try and go all the way around the outside until I decided mid-corner, you know what, I'm gonna go for a cheeky little switchback. There's so much more grip at this point in the race that every single move we make is gonna be so easy. Georgie Doe up next. We still got 8 laps to go at the end of this one, but we only got 5 more cars to overtake, and then we're gonna be in the lead of the race. Remember, we started in P4. We're gonna be back in P4 in just 2 moves, and you can see the grip advantage we have. We're gonna tuck in the slipstream. You can see Josh using his battery. I decided, you know what, you use your battery. In the next corner, I'm gonna be on your gearbox again. And you can see I'm actually tucking out of the dirt here to make sure we get a better run on the exit, and we're gonna go around the outside into the second last corner, brake later. And you can see Josh not fighting us too hard there because he knows that we've got so much more grip. We can brake so much more later, carry so much more speed, have so much more traction. And you can see this lap was already a second slower than the previous lap, just simply due to the fact that we're kind of just stuck behind people. We have to make moves, but I know at this point that this is our race to lose. We've got 8 laps remaining and only 3 more cars to overtake on 6-7 lap fresher softs to mediums. We just have to keep our nose clean here, and then we're gonna win the race. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to be heroic. We just have to keep our nose clean, and you can see how much more grip again we have on the exit. We're gonna turn on the overtake button and go down the inside of Lucas Blakely into the next right-hander. And now the question is, can we make this a 1-2 finish? This is a difficult scenario in as Lucas slightly tapped my rear tire there. Sent me a little bit wide, but yeah, in an ideal scenario, we finish this race 1-2 of course, but it's difficult because Dani is leading at this point, and Nicolas Longuet in P2 obviously knows that once I go for a move, he has to go for it as well. Because once Nicolas is in P2, yeah, it's going to be really difficult for Danny to overtake him again. So having a little look there into the final corner. And yeah, I know I have to be patient here. I will go for the move on the very next DRS raid again. Nicolas Longuet just using his battery a little bit every now and then to make sure I cannot go for a dive from anywhere. And that's really smart. He's been really smart in races, and he's in this year, past 2 years, I reckon, especially this year. Sometimes it may be a little bit too aggressive, which results in getting into incidents, but he's been driving so much better this year relative to previous years. And now we go down the inside of our teammate Danny Bresnay. Now I realized it was 3 wide, so I tried to keep it really tight on that apex just to give Danny enough space in the middle, because if it's 3 wide, it's really easy to get tangled up on this game and yeah, ruin all 3 of our races basically. So I had to make sure that we kept our nose clean there. And unfortunately, Danny dropped a P3. But yeah, obviously at this point in the race, I have the best chance to win this one. You can see we've got much more grip than Nicolas still. We're still pulling a big gap. However, he has a full battery at this point in the race. And yeah, you can see Danny trying to go for a move on Nicolas straight away, but Danny knows we cannot be making it 3 wide into a corner like that. And now he has to defend from Lucas Blakely behind. I think Lucas got into a little incident with Danny there. Yeah, you can see Lucas drop back. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. I don't remember the incident. But yeah, that lap was really slow. At 29.1, 2.2 seconds slower than our fastest lap. And now, with 1.5 laps to go, you can see the tire wear indicator has still not come on. And that's just because we've been saving tires. I had to recharge my battery anyway. So yeah, I didn't even try to pull out of the DRS. Because the recharge of the battery is so slow. If you go for it with like 6-7 laps to go and you completely drain your battery, there's a big chance that you cannot make it back to 100%, and that is basically a guaranteed non-P1 finish. So I decided to save it all up and absolutely send it on this last lap of the Grand Prix. You can see we got a 5-6 gap to Nicolas Longuet into the next braking zone. Tire wear indicator has just popped up, which is fine, because we're gonna stay under the second cliff of the tires until the end of this race. That means we're gonna have quite a bit more grip left than Nicolas Longuet. Again, using our battery here to pull a gap to Nicolas Longuet. He's gonna have DRS once again, of course. And then in the corners, we're gonna be gaining a tiny bit of lap time again. The only worry I have at this point is the last DRS zone. He is gonna get close, that's for sure. That's what we know. It is gonna be perhaps a slight dogfight in this last sector of the race. We know that, but that's what we chose for when we decided not to try and pull out of the DRS. You can see again using our battery into maggots and baggots. We completely want to drain this battery. We don't want to have anything left when we cross the line. We don't want anything left in the tank. You can see we're pulling quite a bit of a gap to the rest of the grid. You can see Nicolas is gaining really fast. We've run out of battery into stall. We're gonna go defensive down the inside. We keep it so Nicolas cannot make a big dive on. We're gonna do the same for the second last corner. Just cover it off slightly to keep Nicolas at bay, and we're gonna win for the first time on F1 23 an F1 Esports race. 26 points, as we got the fastest lap of the race as well. Should have been 27. But unfortunately, we got that 3-place grid penalty. And yeah, what a race. Absolutely great one. And yeah, 26 points in the back. More than doubled our points in the championship. And that's just what we needed after yesterday's race. Where we got obviously completely shafted with the VSC. But we also did not perform well in Jeddah. Honestly, Jeddah, we should have had a chance at winning as well, but I just didn't do well enough in qualifying. Didn't do well enough in the race as well, in my opinion. Just didn't drive well. And yeah, that's just how it is. As we saw today as well with Thomas, for example, and Freddy. These guys have off days as well. Even though they seem at the very peak of their game, the grid is so insanely competitive. You can see Barry Borman in P11. No points for him. The grid is so competitive. No one is flawless on this grid. when it's this close. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe for more F1 Esports videos, and soon F1 24, of course. And see you guys next time. Ciao.